What's up, YouTube? I just got to get Periscope set up here, so hold on a second. Intervals. All right, that looks good. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Theory Thursday. My name is Alex Bourne, and I am from Rockwell Guitar School in Shoreview, Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it's not Thursday. It's technically Friday, but, you know, you guys are musicians. You are up late, so you don't even care. So I'm not worried about it. But hey, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for taking your time to take a look at music theory with me. Um, let's just jump into it. Once again, um, I'm using the Berklee College of Music Harmony texts, and if you just Google Berklee Harmony PDF and look within the first couple results, there are a couple websites that will let you download it for free. So any copyright issues, it's on them, okay? But since we are using for educational purposes in this broadcast, we are pretty much safe, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me switch to my desktop view here. We're going to talk about intervals today. So intervals are pretty basic. This is a quick study in intervals. There are a couple basic intervals: major, minor, diminished, augmented, and I'm going to show you how each of those are created. Okay, let's read on here. The relationship of adjacent notes in all previous scales is a whole step or half step. Okay, true. Up until now, we've been dealing mostly with whole steps and half steps. As part of our vocabulary, we need a method to identify the relationship between any two notes. True. In order to do this, we need a logical means of showing the distance, musical distance, or interval from one note to another. A simple numerical means of accomplishing this is to count each possible staff degree between the two notes to find which number the top pitch represents. Okay, so, all right, this is an example. Here's a C. We'll call this note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we say this is a fifth between C to G. Okay. Now here would be the harmonic version. It's harmonic when you stack both of them, and it's melodic when they are not stacked. So you would hear them You would hear them one after another if you were to play the music as it was written. Whereas if they were stacked up, then you would play them at the same time. Okay. Here's another example. Here's a C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect fourth from C to F. Okay. Melodic version, harmonic version. Okay. The intervals in a major scale between the first note and the other notes are, and here is all of the possible ones in a major scale, just the ones that occur naturally. So when two notes are exactly the same, the musical term is perfect unison. Okay, here's a major second, first note on the scale to the second note, major third, first note to the third note, perfect fourth, first note to the fourth, perfect fifth, first note to the fifth note, major sixth, note 1, note 6, Major 7, note 1, note 7, perfect octave, okay? Note 1, and then 8 notes up in the major scale. If a major interval is made smaller by a half step, okay, so you take any of these and you put so you need to make it smaller. You need to make the space smaller. So if you flatted any of the major intervals, like the second, the third, the major 6th, or the major 7th, it becomes minor. Okay, so it also works if you raise the lower note. Raise the bottom note. Okay, it becomes minor. Okay, so major interval made smaller by a half step, either from the top or the bottom, becomes minor. Intervals may occur as melodic intervals, one note following the other, as the minor second and minor third in the above example, or as harmonic intervals, meaning both notes together, as the minor 6th or minor 7th above. Okay, when a minor or perfect interval is made smaller by a half step, it becomes diminished. Okay, so here was a perfect fourth, and made it smaller with a half step, becomes a diminished fourth. Here's a perfect fifth, made smaller by raising the lower note, becomes a diminished fifth. Okay, minor or a perfect interval, yeah. So we had a minor 6th, right? C to A flat, made smaller by raising the lower note, diminished 6th. And then there's a diminished octave because it used to be a perfect octave. Notice that in all intervallic relationships, one must first count the number of staff degrees involved and then qualify the relationship. So what it's saying is basically, for starters, pretend the accidental isn't there, figure out the interval, and then add the accidental to just to be more specific, I guess. Okay. Major and perfect intervals made larger by a half step. Made larger by a half step are called augmented intervals. Okay, so any of the major or perfect intervals made larger by a half step, either by raising the upper note or lowering the lower note, becomes an augmented interval. Augmented unison, augmented second, augmented third, so on and so forth. Okay. Diminished intervals are made smaller by an additional half step. Diminished intervals made smaller by an additional half step become double diminished. Okay. True. Okay. Augmented intervals made larger by an additional half step become double augmented. And I don't know if I've ever seen double diminished or double augmented in actual written music before. So it is also possible to have an interval which exceeds the octave. This interval is called a major tenth, as in a major third plus 1 octave, right? So here you have C. This would be the next C up, and then a major third on top of that becomes a major tenth. Okay, so just a summary. Here are the basic rules and names when examining the distance from the first note of the major scale upwards. Seconds, thirds, sixths, and sevenths are all major intervals. Unisons, fourths, fifths, and octaves are perfect intervals. So yes, you need to memorize what those are. Major intervals made smaller by a half step become minor. Major intervals made smaller by 2 half steps become diminished. Another way to say it is a minor interval made smaller by a half step becomes diminished. Perfect intervals made smaller by a half step become diminished. That's true. Perfect intervals made smaller by 2 half steps become double diminished. Major perfect intervals made larger by a half step are augmented by 2 half steps. They become double augmented. All right, so that is it. Let us go to our homework. What are we at? 12 and 13. Complete the following chart of intervals from the key of E flat. Keep the highest pitch diatonic. Use the appropriate accidentals. Okay, so here they give you an interval right out of a scale. And then they do a couple different, they alter it in two different ways. By making it smaller by a half step in this column, and then making it larger by a half step. Okay, so here occurring naturally from D to E flat, we have a minor second in the E flat scale. If we make that interval smaller, it becomes a diminished second. Okay, if we make it larger, it becomes a major second. All right, here is another one from C to E flat. We have a minor third. Okay, if we make it smaller by a half step, a minor interval becomes a diminished interval. And then if we make it larger by a half step, it becomes a major third. Okay, so you basically just got to know those rules that were outlined at the end of the chapter. Just know them like the back of your hand. They state them in a way that just makes it really easy, that if you follow the rules, you can get it. Let's skip one here. B flat to D is a major third. Make it smaller by a half step, becomes a minor third. Make it larger by a half step, becomes augmented third. All right, makes sense? So all of these. Wow, it's a lot. Okay, 13. So here they have one melody, and they want you to rewrite it higher and lower, and they just say like a major second higher. If you write this melody major second higher, each of these notes is going to be a major second higher, right? So you just got to apply that major second to each one of these notes and maintain the rhythm, and you should be good. Okay, so let's see if we can do this in my head. I would say watch your clefs. Okay, you got bass clefs and treble clefs here. So D, E, F sharp, G would be E, F sharp, G sharp, A. B, raised by a major second, would be a C sharp. Then we got a B there. Then this would be a C, A, F, and then E. Make sense? Cool. Watch your clefs, and should be good. And definitely play these if you can. I mean, this is such great information that if you play them, you're gonna like get extra. You're gonna get bonus knowledge out of it, I would say. All right, so that is the end of our homework, and let me just flip back to camera mode. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching. That concludes our Theory Thursday tonight. Come back for more next week, Theory Thursday. Who knows when I will do it. It will probably be late at night. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me just check for questions now. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have questions? Periscope? You guys want to? Okay, well, you know where to get at me. At A-Born Guitarist on Twitter, or at Rockwell Guitar, or just hit me up on Facebook at the Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Alex Bourne. Good night.